spoiled units. Spoiled units are units that do not meet production standards and are either sold for their salvage value or discarded. For example, if a batch of bread is left in the oven for too long and burns, it cannot be corrected. So sa production, laging nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na spoiled units. So ito yung spoiled units, ito yung mga units na hindi na-meet yung production standards, kumbaga hindi nasisira siya. And kapag nasira siya, hindi mo na siya pwedeng i-correct. Hindi mo na siya pwedeng gawa ng paraan para maging finished good ulit. Kumbaga, kapag may spoiled units sa production, ang option mo na lang is ibenta siya at their salvage value or itatapon na lang, discarded. Kumbaga, either itatapon mo na lang or sisirain mo na lang yung units na spoiled. Kumbaga, pag spoiled units, hindi mo na siya correct. Hindi mo na siya mare-repair, hindi mo na siya mare-rework. So, ang choice mo na lang is either ibenta siya or itapon or sirain. Two methods of accounting for spoiled units. The method to account for spoiled materials depends on the reason for such spoilage. So, ibig sabihin, sa accounting for spoiled units, kailangan nating malaman kung ano yung reason ba ng spoiled units. Number 1, charge to the specific job. This method is used if the reason for the spoilage is the job itself, because it requires complicated manufacturing process. So, kapag yung job mismo ang reason ng spoilage, ang gagamitin natin is yung charge to specific job. And normally, ginagamit siya kapag yung mga manufacturing process ay complicated. Kumbaga, may mga special manufacturing process na involved para makomplete yung job na iyon. And to record yung spoiled units, ang entry natin would be debit, spoiled goods, credit, work in process. So, debit spoiled goods at spoiled units times estimated salvage value per unit. Dahil nga nagkaroon ng spoiled units, magkakaroon tayo ng spoiled goods. And dahil nagkaroon ng spoiled units, nagkaroon ng mga units na hindi na makokorek, mababawasan na ang ating work in process. Kasi yung portion na yon sa work in process ay magiging spoiled goods na. Number 2, charge to all production. This method is used if the reason for the spoilage is considered normal to process and the number does not exceed the limit set by the company. So, yung mga company kasi, yung mga production ng mga company, normally, nagkakaroon talaga sila ng spoiled units. Whether gaano kaganda yung production process nila, gaano kabusisi yung production process nila, nagkakaroon pa rin ng spoiled units. And yung ibang company, nagsaset sila ng limit or benchmark para masabi nila na yung spoiled units is normal or abnormal. So, kunyari, ang sinet ng limit ng company ay 100 units. 100 units pababa. Ibig sabihin, kapag nagkaroon ng spoiled units sa production at ang quantity lang ng spoiled units is 100 units pababa, still considered yan as normal spoilage. Kapag nag-exceed ng 100, ibig sabihin, hindi na yan normal spoilage. Abnormal spoilage na yan. And to record yung entry para sa spoiled goods, it charge to all production yung method. Debit spoiled goods at amount spoiled goods times the estimated sales value per unit. Then, ika-credit natin yung work in process for the total cost na na-charge dun sa spoiled units. And yung difference ng spoiled goods and work in process sa factory overhead natin siya i-charge. if the number of units spoiled exceed the limit set by the company, or if the reason is not considered normal to the process, the loss on spoiled units is charged to a loss account. So sinasabi lang nito, kapag nag-exceed na sa benchmark or sa limit ng sinet na company, yung quantity ng spoilage, hindi na siya mako-consider as normal sa process. Hindi na siya mako-consider as normal spoilage. Abnormal spoilage na yon, and isi-charge na natin siya sa loss account. And o kaya naman, kapag hindi na normal sa process, still i-charge natin siya sa loss account. Okay, to illustrate yung accounting for spoiled units, illustration, job 3044 called for the making of 4,000 units of this with this unit cost. So, yung job 3 of 3044 is nakapaloob doon yung paggawa ng 4,000 units at ang cost ng job at ang cost ng direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead sa job 3044, which consists na gumawa ng 4,000 units, is 15 sa materials, 13 sa direct labor, and 12 sa factory overhead. So, total unit cost ng per unit ng job 3044 is 40 pesos per unit. Ang requirement, prepare the entries if number 1, the loss is charged to all production. So ito yung gagamitin natin sa number 1, itong charge to all production. And number 2, the loss is charged to the specific job, which is ito naman, yung charge to the specific job. Okay, uunahin natin yung number 1. The loss on spoilage or the loss on the spoiled units is charged to all production. So, ang gagamitin natin ay ito, yung charge to all production. So, kailangan natin journal entries. Unang journal entry is to record yung direct materials, labor, and factory overhead para sa 4,000 units. So, to record yan, debit, work in process, at what amount? That is 40. Gagamitin natin yung 40 pesos, in-include natin or kinonsider natin yung 1 peso allowance for spoiled work. Kasi nga, yung loss is charged to all production. Kaya, kapag loss is charged to all production, and kapag may given na mga gantong allowance for spoiled work, is i-consider natin siya sa pag-determine ng unit cost ng product. So, 40 pesos times number of units na ginawa or gagawin ay 4,000 units. That is 160,000. Credit materials at what amount? That is 15 times 4,000. Saan galing yung 15? Ito. Credit payroll na anong amount yun? 13 times 4,000. Ito ay 60,000. Ito ay 52,000. Credit factory overhead applied na 12 pesos times 4,000. Okay, charge to all production. So, pag charge to all production, ang consider nating overhead is inclusive ng allowance for spoiled work. Kasi nga, loss is charged to all production. So, mamaya natin i-elaborate yan. 48,000. Next, yung entry para sa spoilage ng 200 units. So, 200 yung na-reject na units. Ibig sabihin, spoiled unit na to, hindi na to mako-correct. So, ang option na lang is either ibenta or discarded. Kumbaga, itapon or sirain. And in-emphasize niya, 200 rejected units ay normal number. So, to record yung spoiled units, so gagamitin natin to. Spoiled goods. Debit spoiled goods at what amount? Ang sabi, quantity of spoiled units times estimated sales value per unit. So, ang number of rejected units is 200. Times, ito yung estimated sales value na, 18 pesos. That is 3,600. And, credit daw natin yung work in process. Total cost charged to the spoiled units. Yun daw yung amount. So, ibig sabihin nun, 200 units times yung 40 pesos. That is 8,000. So, yung difference ng spoiled goods and work in process is charged to factory overhead control na 4,400. Kumbaga, yung ginastos mo para sa spoiled units is 8,000. Pero, mabibenta mo na lang siya at 3,600. So, yung difference na 4,400 is sa factory overhead control. Ang next na journal entry natin is yung completion ng units. So, to record yung letter C, debit, finished goods, credit, work in process. At what amount? 160,000 minus 160,000 galing sa journal entry ng letter A less yung credit ng work in process na nasa journal entry ng letter B. So, 160 minus 8,000, that is 152,000 pesos. Okay, so ito yung mga journal entries necessary doon sa sinasabi na the loss is charged to all production. Now, to compute yung unit cost ng units, consider natin yung total finished goods na 152,000 pesos. Then, i-divide natin siya sa number of good units. Good units meaning yung hindi kasama yung rejected units. Kumbaga, i-divide natin to sa number of good units, yung hindi spoiled. So, ang number ng good units is, paano natin ma-determine yun? So, meron tayo ditong 4,000 units na ginawa. Pero, sa 4,000 units na yan, when the order was completed, 200 daw dyan yung rejected units. So, sa 4,000 na to, yung 200 dyan nasira. Kumbaga, spoiled. Either ibebenta na lang, or itatapon na lang, or sisirain na lang. So, ang number of good units ay 3,800 units. 152,000 total finished goods divided by 3,800 na good units, mga units na good para ibenta kasi hindi siya spoiled, Therefore, the unit cost ng mga good unit ay 40 pesos. And remember, ito din yung total unit cost na given sa problem, 40 pesos. And ang ginagawa natin is loss to charge to all production. Ibig sabihin, any loss on spoiled goods is i-charge sa lahat ng units ng production. Whether good yan or spoiled, i-charge sa lahat ng production. So sa case na to, 40 pesos yung cost ng 3,800 na good units. And yung loss on spoilage is charged to all production. Meaning, nakapaloob dun sa 3,800 units yung loss on spoilage. So bakit? Kasi ang sabi sa problem, direct materials is 15, direct labor is 13, and factory overhead is 12 pesos. And may special note dito wherein sa factory overhead per unit, may ini-include na silang piso na allowance for spoiled work. So meaning, sa lahat ng unit na mabubuo, naka-charge doon yung spoiled work.